He was a war hero who became a revolutionary, a prisoner who became a president, and a leader who was overthrown by the very man he trusted most. Ahmed Ben Bella, Algeria's first president, rose from the dusty plains of western Algeria to the heights of Cold War power politics, only to spend 15 years locked in a cell, forgotten by the world he had helped create. This is the story of a man who burned too bright, trusted too little, and fell too fast. Born in 1916 in Magnia, a small town near the Moroccan border, Ahmed Ben Bella grew up under French colonial rule, a system designed to remind Algerians, every single day, that they were second-class citizens in their own land. He was a gifted footballer, talented enough to play professionally, but history had other plans. After fighting for France in World War II, earning the Médaille Militaire for bravery, Ben Bella came home and asked a simple question. If I'm brave enough to die for France, why am I not equal to a Frenchman? That question had no good answer, and it radicalized him completely. By the late 1940s, Ben Bella had joined the Mouvement pour le Triomphe des Libertés Démocratiques, a mouthful of a name for a movement demanding Algerian rights. But peaceful politics felt too slow, too polite, too French. In 1954, he became one of the 9 founding members of the Front de Libération Nationale, the FLN, 9 men. One mission: drive France out of Algeria by any means necessary. On November 1st, 1954, a date Algerians still call the Night of Fire, the FLN launched coordinated attacks across the country. France called it a terrorist uprising. Algeria called it the beginning of independence. The war had begun. Ben Bella ran operations from Cairo, with Egyptian President Nasser as a key ally. He was the FLN's international face, charming, magnetic, and dangerous. Then, in October 1956, France pulled off one of the most audacious moves of the entire war. French intelligence intercepted a plane carrying Ben Bella and 4 other FLN leaders from Morocco to Tunisia and forced it to land in Algiers. It was an act of air piracy. It nearly collapsed the French government. It outraged the Arab world. And it made Ben Bella a martyr. He would spend the next 6 years in French prison as the revolution he helped start raged on without him. On July 5, 1962, Algeria finally won its independence after 132 years of French rule and 8 brutal years of war. 1 million people had died. Entire villages had been erased. The country was in ruins. And into that vacuum stepped Ahmed Ben Bella. He hadn't led the war from the front. He'd been in prison for most of it, but he had the name, the charisma, and the political muscle to outmaneuver his rivals. By September 1963, he was not just prime minister, he was times president, having pushed through a new constitution that made Algeria a single-party state. Power, at last, was his. Ben Bella had vision. He wanted Algeria to be the beating heart of the Third World, a model socialist state that proved colonized nations could build something great. He nationalized French-owned farms and handed them to workers. He invited Che Guevara to Algiers. He embraced Nasser, Castro, and the non-aligned movement. Algiers became the capital of global revolution, a city where liberation movements from Africa, Asia, and Latin America came to find support, training, and solidarity. For one brief, electric moment, Ben Bella looked like the future. But back home, the cracks were already forming. Ben Bella's style of leadership was bold, but erratic. He concentrated power aggressively, sidelining allies, dismissing ministers, and making enemies faster than he could make friends. He clashed with the Berber Kabyle population over language rights. He alienated religious conservatives. He picked a border war with Morocco that drained resources and goodwill. And most fatally, he began to undermine the man who had put him in power in the first place. Colonel Houari Boumediene, his defense minister and the commander of the army. Ben Bella reportedly planned to remove Boumediene from his post. Boumediene found out. He didn't wait to be fired. On June 19, 1965, just before dawn, Algerian army units surrounded the presidential palace. Ben Bella was arrested in his own home. No shots fired, no resistance. It was clean, quiet, and total. Boumediene announced over the radio that the demagogic and anarchic regime of Ben Bella was over. There was no popular uprising in his defense, no general strike, no revolution to save the revolutionary. After less than 3 years as president, Ahmed Ben Bella simply disappeared, locked away in a secret location, cut off from the world. For 15 years, Ben Bella was held in isolation. No trial, no charges, no public appearances. The man who had dined with Nasser and embraced Che Guevara was now a ghost, officially erased from Algerian history. His name was removed from textbooks. His photos disappeared from public buildings. It was as if he had never existed. The world moved on. Boumediene ruled Algeria until his death in 1978. The Cold War shifted. New leaders rose and fell. And somewhere in an Algerian prison, Ahmed Ben Bella grew old, waiting. Ben Bella was finally released in 1980 under President Chadli Benjedid. He lived in exile in France and Switzerland, returning to Algeria only in 1990, a relic of a revolution that had long since calcified into something he never intended. He died in April 2012 at the age of 95. So what's the verdict? Ben Bella was a man of genuine courage and real vision, but also of dangerous impatience and fatal miscalculation. He helped birth a nation, then couldn't figure out how to govern it without making enemies of everyone around him. Algeria's first president, its first political prisoner. The revolution, as it so often does, had eaten one of its own.